The Christmas lights glowed softly against the tall windows, reflecting off polished wood and crystal glasses. But nothing could soften the moment when Clara Whitmore's hand trembled over the divorce papers. In the middle of laughter, music, and carefully staged holiday cheer, her tears fell silently onto the document that would officially end her marriage. No one noticed at first. No one except her heart, breaking quietly at a table meant for celebration, not goodbyes. Before the story continues, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength it takes to survive heartbreak, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach the hearts that need them most. Clara had never planned for her life to unravel at a Christmas party. The event was hosted in a stately home outside Boston, Massachusetts, decorated to perfection with evergreen garlands and a glowing tree that stood tall like a symbol of togetherness. Friends, relatives, and acquaintances filled the room, smiling and sipping drinks, unaware that for Clara, every ornament felt heavy, every carol sounded distant. She was 31 years old, dressed simply in a denim jacket she had chosen deliberately to feel small, invisible. That night, she wanted nothing more than to disappear. The man seated beside her, Aaron Whitlock, appeared calm, almost relieved. He was handsome, successful, and respected in his circle, but his ambition had slowly hollowed out whatever love once lived between them. Their marriage had become a performance, one Clara could no longer sustain. For months she had tried to save it, sacrificing her pride, her dreams, even her silence. But nothing was ever enough. The divorce papers rested on the table like a final verdict, and when she signed them, she felt as if she were signing away not just a marriage, but the version of herself that believed love could survive neglect. Behind them stood family members and friends, smiling politely, assuming the papers were business-related or symbolic paperwork for some holiday joke. Clara felt exposed and alone, even in a crowded room. Her thoughts drifted back to the life she had carefully hidden, the one no one in that room knew about. She had chosen anonymity for years, believing it would protect her from people who loved wealth more than character. That decision, once empowering, now felt painfully isolating. Clara's struggle had begun long before that Christmas night. She had married Aaron believing they were equals, building a life together through mutual effort. What she didn't realize was how deeply he resented what he thought was her lack of ambition. Clara worked quietly in nonprofit consulting, helping struggling community programs stay afloat. Aaron wanted status, recognition, and power. He wanted a wife who could elevate him socially, not one who vanished into modest offices and volunteered her weekends to causes that didn't impress investors. What Aaron never knew was that Clara came from unimaginable wealth. Her father, Thomas Whitmore, was one of the most influential financiers in the United States, a billionaire whose name appeared in business magazines and charity boards nationwide. Clara had grown up surrounded by luxury, but also by lessons about humility, responsibility, and the danger of being valued only for money. After her mother's death, Clara promised herself she would live a life defined by purpose, not privilege. She changed her last name, refused inheritance access, until she felt she had earned her own place in the world, and never once mentioned her family's fortune to Aaron. As the ink dried on the divorce papers, Clara felt something shift. The pain was still there, raw and consuming, but beneath it stirred a quiet resolve. She realized that the marriage had taught her a painful truth. Shrinking herself for love only leads to emptiness. Her tears were not just for the loss of Aaron, but for the years she spent believing she had to be less to be loved. The days after the divorce were some of the hardest of Clara's life. She moved into a small apartment overlooking the Charles River, waking each morning to a silence that felt both peaceful and terrifying. She allowed herself to grieve fully, without rushing the healing process. She spent long walks reflecting on who she had been before marriage, before compromise turned into self-erasure. Slowly, she returned to the parts of herself she had neglected, her passion for social impact, her creativity, and her quiet strength. Change came unexpectedly when Clara received news that one of the nonprofit organizations she had supported for years was on the verge of collapse. The program helped displaced families rebuild their lives, and without funding, hundreds would be left without support. Clara felt the familiar pull of responsibility, but this time, she didn't hesitate. She made a decision that would alter everything. For the first time in her adult life, she contacted her father. The revelation of her identity happened not with drama, but with intention. Clara stepped into boardrooms where her name alone shifted the air. She didn't boast or explain herself unnecessarily. She simply acted. Funding poured into the nonprofit sector, programs expanded, and lives changed almost overnight. Those who once overlooked her now listened carefully. The world saw her not as someone's ex-wife, but as a leader with vision and compassion. Word eventually reached Aaron. He saw headlines, interviews, and philanthropic awards featuring Clara Whitmore, the billionaire's daughter, who was transforming communities across America. The realization hit him like a storm. He had dismissed her quiet nature as weakness, her modest lifestyle as lack of ambition. Now, he understood that what he failed to value was her greatest strength. But Clara didn't look back with bitterness. She had learned that closure doesn't always require apologies or reconciliation. Sometimes, it comes from growth. She focused on her work, traveling across the United States, meeting families whose lives were touched by the initiatives she funded. Each story reminded her why she chose authenticity over appearance. As the next Christmas approached, Clara hosted a modest gathering of her own. There were no lavish displays, no expectations to perform happiness. Just warmth, shared meals, and genuine connection. She felt whole again, not because life was perfect, but because she was finally living honestly. If this story is touching your heart so far, please pause and share it with someone who may be silently struggling. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments if you believe that pain can lead to purpose. Just before the ending, here's a special request. Comment the word hope if you believe that even the most painful endings can become powerful beginnings. Clara's story wasn't about wealth revealed or love lost. It was about self-worth reclaimed. On that Christmas night, when she signed the divorce papers in tears, she thought she was losing everything. In truth, she was stepping into the life she was always meant to live. And sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is walk away from what hurts, even when the world is watching, and trust that something better is waiting on the other side.